privilege and honor just to spend this time with you, you know. I've been floating in some of the marathon meetings and connecting with some of you. I've never been to this convention. I've been to a lot of conferences from like up in Canada with Sioux Indians out to like, you know, small groups of kids doing it, in some, back alley streets in Phoenix and in prisons and schizophrenic wards. Just hearing the accent of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's different, but it's always the same. And it's super powerful here tonight. And I want to thank you for letting me just share a little bit of that time with you. First off, I want to kind of get my disclaimer out of the way. My sobriety date's June 3, 1993. Okay? Woo! Okay, and man, I have a home group called the Robbers Roost, which meets in Vista, California on Thursday nights at 6:30. That's the best home group in the world. Yeah, what? Okay, that's a fact. That is a fact, yeah? I got a sponsor. His name is Bob, and he knows it, okay? So, all right? And I have a sobriety date. I have a home group. I got a big book. I've got a sponsor, and I got all that because you guys showed me how to have that, and my higher power is working large in my life, And I want to say to you, absolutely, without a shadow of doubt, my favorite sentence in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is on the top of page 63, and it says, "When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed." Man, I am absolutely believe that tonight is remarkable, And look at me, man, I got my hairs cut all pretty for you, you know what I mean? I'm all color coordinated, good indication that I'm married, and and I'm here, but they called me schizophrenic. That was my diagnosis. Emotional numbing. I heard trees talk. I used to sleep in the fetal position, rock myself to sleep, sweat the bed, sweat through my clothes. I lived in Arizona, and I had such severe social and mental concerns and issues. 10 years old, I have a gun in my mouth. I'm hyper-suicidal, and I also had this problem where I could hear you, and if you stared at me too long, I started to get a sense that you wanted to hurt me, and I would turn that into a desire to want to kill you, And I was speaking at a conference in Canada, dude sitting right where you're at, and I was like, and if you looked at me too long, I'd kill you. And dude was like, crap. So I'm like much better, okay? So, you guys know where Mesa, Arizona is? Anybody know where Mesa is? Mormons! Okay, all right. So Mesa, Arizona, there's a park in Mesa, Arizona, okay, called Pioneer Park, right across the street from the Mormon Temple. And there is a plane, there used to be a plane and a train in that park. That plane's gone now. I used to sleep in the fuselage of that plane when I was homeless out there, okay? And you have to picture me, I was 137 pounds. I was so like white, you could see the pulmonary function through my chest, dude. I had a mullet, I looked good. And I wore white parachute pants. You could see my underwear through it. I had a trench coat. You guys know what a huffy is? I had a badass little girl's huffy, dude. I had a little light blue one with stickers and stuff all over it. All my junk in gray garbage bags in the back. I was like a little Grim Reaper super tweaker pumping up and down Main Street, okay? That was me. And I was the guy that when you drove by, went, I feel better. Because there's that. I'm a little homicidal, suicidal mental patient living in a park, And so I just want to say, like, if you get upset because I'm apt to share with you my opinion tonight, I will try to stick to my story, but I'll probably share my opinion. And if I offend you or distract you from your perspective of the big book, take you away from what your sponsor actually has given you direction on, and that creates a resentment in you, you just get a piece of paper and a pen. You make 4 columns. Now, you write my name down. You ask what I did that offended you, what instinct was threatened. You pray for me, find your part, get over it, okay? Come on, man. I am not the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I am not AA. Don't hold me on a pedestal or anybody in a pedestal that gets up here next to the pedestal. We're just members of Alcoholics Anonymous sharing our experience, strength, and hope as best we see it. Does that make sense? Give me a loud yes. Yes. So, I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to kind of connect, but I'm also not here to deter you. The real message is in the book. And I'm going to tell you straight up what I believe has got me sober. I had a great sponsor who told me to read a little, write a little, pray a little, help a little, and go to bed. That's it. And I was changed a little while I slept by something outside of me. And then when I woke up, I had the decision to make again if I wanted to read a little, write a little, pray a little, help a little, and go to bed. And I was changed just a little. It's as simple as that. And over time, I never changed anything. I was changed. That's my opinion. I was changed by something outside of me, right? So let me tell you my story. I'm 10 years old. I got a gun in my mouth. I want to die. That is a fact. I know I'm disgusting. I know I'm broken. I lived I was a sheltered little Mormon kid of a Mormon bishop dad. We had 3 albums in my house, man. We had the, Mormon Tabernacle Choir, John Denver, Rocky Mountain High, and a pirate copy of Jesus Christ Superstar. That was my rock, okay? And I haven't had a Pepsi, nicotine. There's none of that stuff in my house. It's all prayer. It's all Jesus. All the parties I involved some kind of like pudding treats in like opening prayer, okay? But I want to die. There's something broken inside of me. And I also have facial tics. I have odd looks, and I stare, and my lip quivers. And I pulled a lot of negative attention on me. So I have been stabbed. I've been thrown in a dumpster, thrown in a trash can upside down, thrown off a wall, thrown off a building. I have been beaten. I have been called every single name. And this is not random. This is continuous. And every time you did that to me, all you did was convince me already what I knew, which is that I'm disgusting, I'm not worthy, and I should go. But I was 12 years old, and I was at Townsend, and I remember I had been stabbed that day by a group in matching jackets, and I got up off the ground bloodied and concerned, and something clicked inside of my head. It just broke. And what happened was I remember going, I might be small, but I'm gun literate, and I can pull a trigger and I can kill you. And I remember looking at those guys as they left, going, I can kill you. And it gave me a sense of power that calmed me. And that became my new mantra. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Nobody ever sat me down and said I had opportunities or like I had potential. I didn't have that speech. I didn't have a life I wanted to live in. And nobody was getting out of my way, man. I was not a scary-looking person. I was odd. I was that guy that you wanted to kind of check. But I was broken. I'm a virgin, homicidal, suicidal Mormon dork looking for some power, yeah? That's all I'm looking for, you know? And I found it. 15 years old, Matt Kelly threw me down the bus steps coming home from Saguaro High School. I hit the curb with my face, and I feel blood coming out of my mouth, and I'm stunned. He throws my backpack on me, and the bus driver asks me to pull my feet off the steps. He wants to close the door. He needs to drive away. So I pull my knees into my chest on the ground. I just lay there as the bus goes away. And what I heard with my head is everybody laughing. That's what I heard. And when I went down a daydreamer of murder. But when I got up, I was committed. That's it. I'm going to go to my dad's house. I'm getting my dad's gun. I'm walking 2.1 miles to Matt's. I'm going to shoot him dead on his doorstep. Then I'm going to shoot me, and then everybody can see what they've been doing to me. I remember that. And on my way to my home, I saw a cigarette on the ground, a half-mushed, sun-baked Marlboro with a footprint on it on the ground. And I remember going, dude, you're going to commit murder. You might as well try some new stuff on the way out, yeah? I mean, I never even had a Pepsi, you know what I mean? I'm virgin territory, you know? And I sparked that cigarette, and I remember getting that nicotine buzz going, dude, I'm loaded. Wow. Like my first buzz. And something must have changed in me because like what happened was this kid named David, he had this like long black Arapaho hair. He had the Ozzy Osbourne Bark at the Moon album concert shirt. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah? He comes over, dude, you want to smoke? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a smoker. Bring it, you know? And we went to his house and smoked something else and watched Mr. Rogers for 2 hours, and we laughed. You know? And then he goes, you want to go to a party? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on a party, man. Let's party. And we went to McCormick Ranch in Scottsdale. And there's a big estate home, and the gates opened up, and there was a sea of cars, right? And I remember knocking on the door and paying $2 and getting my hand marked and getting a cup. And then I open the door and I walk in. I hear it for the first time. Danzig, Kiss, Quiet Riot, Metallica, The Clash. I hear all this like devil music, you know? And I like it. Like it makes me like move, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, like that mullet started to like work, you know? Oh. And I like see a sea of kids like everywhere, and like there's no adult supervision. There's like no opening prayer, you know? And then like I see this girl come by in a bra, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I love to party, you know what I mean? And you know, and I saw the candelabra of gin and vodka and tequila, and they passed the Everclear they were pouring in the Hawaiian Punch, yeah. And then they alcoholics. And then they brought me to this big barrel thing with a pump on it with a hose. You ever seen one? Okay. And they pump it, and I fill my cup with it. Like, I had a head on my beer like that, and I had a little stripe of a beerlet on the bottom, okay? Now, to picture, I'm wearing white parachute pants, the ones I like to wear every day. I got Velcro Pumas. I got zits all over me. I look like Skeletor with a banana mullet. I have a black V-cut shirt with zippers because it's the 80s. I look good, all right? And I got this cup. Now, when I did my first step with my first sponsor, he had me read the first 8 pages of Bill's story and identify where I thought, felt, and drank like Bill, right? And on the very first paragraph, Bill starts talking about ignoring the strong warnings and prejudice concerning drink, right? And I'm like a little Mormon kid. I'm supposed to sell Jesus door to door in Guam. I'm not supposed to have a Coca-Cola. I'm stoned. I want this. And it's coming through the foam, and it hits me, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like a click, like, ah. Now, I have no idea what your first night of drinking was like, but for me, it was like immediately transmuted me to a place called I Like It Like That. And it like shifted me. It shifted everything. And I started popping. I was doing shoots of gin, shoots of vodka, shoots of tequila. I shot the Everclear. That hurt. And then I was like, and I was drinking beer. And I remember just getting so happy that I'm dancing to Morris Day and the Time. I'm moving around to like Aerosmith. And I'm making all these friends with all these girls, all these guys. Dude, I went into the bathroom that night, looked at myself and yeah. You know, like there's a certain amount of alcohol that made this all work, you know what I mean? And it must have worked good too, because Denise Johnson came up on me. I get lit, low, and laid my very first night. That was a powerful experience for a virgin, homicidal, suicidal Mormon dork. Give me a yeah. And I woke my sister up at 3 in the morning going, I'm a man, I say. The greatest night of my life. And you ever been in a meeting where they say, I would never trade the worst day of sobriety for the best day of drinking? F you can't have that night. That was the greatest night of my life. I'm keeping that night. And the best part of the whole night was I totally forgot to kill Matt. Matt's walking around his life completely saved by Budweiser. You know what I mean? Look what happens to me when you put a drink in me. It instantly takes me from a mental patient, broken, angry, psychotic, homicidal, suicidal, and makes me a part of. It gives me friends. It gives me conviviality. It gives me connection. It gives me a value in my life. And it suddenly, instantly, with a simple sip, changes my entire world to something I want to live in. There is nothing wrong with those first 2 drinks. Nothing. I wish I could just have just 2 drinks and go back and live there. If that was the case, I would not be with you. I'd be at home watching Star Trek, okay? But the reality is, I'm an alcoholic. And that first drink, it owns me, and it dominates me, and it controls me, and it tells me if I'm going to drink more, if I'm not going to drink more, how much I'm going to drink, and where it's all going to end, every single time. But I didn't know that, so I made a commitment, a covenant with alcohol that night, and I swear I did. I just absolutely was like, you can have my education, my morals, my family, my values. That church, that theology, mythology, whateverology, you can have it. It's all weird. You know what I mean? You can have it. I'm out. I want to live like this. I want this night to last every single day for the rest of my life, man. And I remember going, yeah, some, yay! I went home to I started to change too. Like alcohol, I'm 15, alcohol immediately changed me. Like my hair grew out like Winger. You know what I mean? I'm wearing like all black. I got a swag now, you know, hey. And I remember at 15 coming home to my mom saying, Mom, I need to borrow the car. I'm going to go out and party. My mom's like, you're 15 and you're not borrowing the car? And so my mom takes half a Valium so she can get her rest at night. So I crushed 3 and I put a Fresca and knocked her ass out, right? Whatever. And I set her real still right here, you know what I mean? And then I went out to like 5 in the morning, but she was right where I left her, and she hadn't moved, you know, so about 10 o'clock, she's like, oh, I slept so good. I'm like, yeah, that's your dose, good night. And I will drug you, will lie to you, make up fake accents, fake backstories. I'm a shoplifter, I'm a scammer, manipulator. Don't let me in your bathroom unattended. Do not leave your girlfriend unobserved. I will go for it, man. I have great jobs at Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, Burger King. I was fired from Wendy's in a day. You know what I mean? And I could go on and on and on about how much I drank and how bad it got. And, you know, the reality is it all ends up in the park. How much I drank and how weird things got over and over again has no bearing on me being an alcoholic as far as I'm concerned. I take a drink, I cannot accurately predict what's going to happen next. Even though I shouldn't take a drink, I keep forgetting not to take that first drink, end of story. You know, I got out of Arizona, it was getting hot, you know, and I I moved to Huntington Beach, California. Yeah. Yeah, man. Far out. I brought me. Okay. And it all started all over again. I made a little money. The look changed a bit, but the attitude didn't, and the drinking happened every single day. And it all ends up with me 25 years old, in a walk-in closet, drunk off my butt, with a 38 Special in my lap, looking to die. And that's not the deal alcohol and I made. I will give you everything, my morals, my future, my education, my finances, my relationships, everything. You can have it all as long as you give me a life worth living. And now it wants to take it drunk. It wants to take it. And I literally had nothing to say to anything because I didn't believe in God, but I did say, you're going to have to stop me. And I did. I got arrested. Now, I got arrested so often in Tempe, it was like a mode of transportation, okay? But this is the first time I got arrested for drinking too much, and I got sentenced to AA. 2 meetings, 2. Somebody out there's got a court card the size of the Old Testament. I know you do, man, but I got sentenced to 2, you know what I mean? That was it. Bummer, don't be peanut butter and jealous, you know what I mean? But here's the good news, 2 was all I needed. Because added with going to Mexico right before I came, with $500 in my pocket, and the story that went on that night, that I'm not sharing from this podium, was so horrifying, so demoralizing, so life-threatening, so absolutely terrifying that the next morning I was open-minded and said, maybe I need to go get my court card signed. So here's my first day of Alcoholics Anonymous. Here I come. How Hall. Yeah. The banners. Huntington Beach, California, Beach Boulevard. Back then, it keeps moving, too, because I turn my back, it's gone. And Beach in Atlanta, go on down. And now, this is your first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous must have been like, whoa, you know, but for me, I'm real hypersensitive, okay? So I walk in, and it's like Goodwill chairs everywhere, and like the carpet smells like cat pee, and there's like a little to-do list on the wall, okay? And you see little blue Bibles stacked up all over the place, right? And there's nobody in there except from some like palsy shake Moses old guy in the back, scooping way too much caffeine in the coffee, okay? And I walked back to him with my court card and I said, hey, I'm crazy and I'm supposed to get this signed, will you help me? Now for all the new people in this room, if you don't want to get sober, do not say that to an old person. Because that translates to, will you be my sponsor? That's how that works. Yeah. So what he did is he told me to sit down, don't say anything, and he'd get to me, right? So I sat down. I'm eyeballing you, man, like a hawk. I'm watching you guys. You guys have little nicknames like Big Book Bob and Stinky Pete and whatever. And you're saying your little scripts, your little speeches, your little memorized, your little limericks, and your little let-goes and whatever. And one day does that, and you're all memorizing, and you're clapping at anything, like little bunny fuzzy slipper nipple. Yay! Yeah, keep coming back. You're doing great. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that wasn't even good. And you know. And then all of a sudden it hit, because I'm getting sweaty hands, my heart's palpitating, my legs starting to shake. I'm really starting to have like a cardiac arrest. And I'm really uncomfortable. It's not feeling good. And then all of a sudden it hits me, I understand how you guys do this. So you guys go forward to forward, and you go, I won't drink if you don't drink. I won't drink if you don't drink. You call me every day, I'll call you every day. You call me every day. We'll go to a meeting every single day. We'll say the same stuff every single day. Read the book every single day. Get rid of your friends. Get rid of your friends. That's a cult, right? That's a cult. And then this kid next door to me goes, oh, it's so awesome. When we get done, we hold hands and pray. Kill you. I'm out. I don't want to be a part of your thing. It didn't work for me. I'm gone. I'm running out. I'm going to go to Lucky John's. I'm going to shoot some pool, have a couple of drinks, find something chickish, right, and have a good night. So I'm out. And now, by the way, this is good AA, by the way. This is good AA. See, his name is Carl. That's what his name was. And Carl got between me and the door. What Carl didn't do is win the prize for talking to a newcomer and getting me to sit down. Carl knew that I'm brand new and had no clue and was panicked and running. And he got between me and the door, man. And as I'm trying to get through Carl, he hands me the big book. I thought we all just got one. He didn't ask me if I had one. He goes, here's your book. And then he gave me a key. And then I saw you got little buttons for like happy buttons for like little time, like yay, you know what I mean? So I thought the key was like my key to life or something, you know? Like some special token. And then he goes, what's your address? Now I was court ordered to be there, so I didn't know if it was illegal to give him the wrong one, so I gave my right address. And then he asked me what time I got off work, and I was like, dude, you get a lot of information for an anonymous program. And he goes, we've elected you the coffee maker. What? Oh, you making coffee? So you need to show up here a half an hour early next week because you're making the coffee. Now you need to go to the store and get caffeinated decaf. Get the big cups. Don't get the little ones. I get pissed at the little ones. Get the big ones. And you're making coffee. Now, I don't know how coffee keeps you sober, but I walked, and if you've never done this, man, but you will go like this. You're like, I'm going to make the best damn coffee they ever had. That's how you do every time. And I went straight, and I bought the expensive stuff, man. I filled up my car like Starbucks, you know what I mean? Like, I'm making coffee, you know what I mean? And my house is an unsober, sober living facility, man. There's 5 dudes living in a house. We have absenta in the freezer. You have to part the green cannabis curtain to get anywhere, dude. Strip pool every single night. We have a couch made out of cases of beer in our garage. I mean, like, it's going on. I'm running in with the Folgers. I'm dashing past everybody, going upstairs into my bedroom, slam the door, and hide. You know what I mean? And I just went to sleep. And the next morning I woke up and I went, damn, I'm 25. When I'm 75 years old, I'll be 50 years sober. It's a record, right? Right? And I seen you guys, I kind of figured out I could rule you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I got this. You know what I mean? I got all excited about being a part of your thing, like in the morning. And by noon, I'm like, F this, let's go get drunk. And I'm going home straight after work to go right to my house to get that cool shirt I like to wear when I go shoot pool, right? And I go to my house, and apparently I had a date, because there's Carl right out front of my house like an Amway stalker, just smoking a cigarette, just waiting for me, you know what I mean? Just, hey. And he told me to get in the car. Now, I was court ordered, so I don't know if it was illegal to tell him no, so he kidnapped me. You know? And we went to a place called Charlie Street. Like a yearbook night for you? Here's what Carl told me. Carl did not ever tell me you give what you got. He never said that. He told me you get what you give. He said, you got one day, you better give it away real quick if you want it. What are you waiting for? If you want more sobriety, you better start giving it away. And he got me into that right. I have no idea how to give. I don't even know what I have. But he just told me, you get what you give. And we're going to go give it away. And when he went to Charlie Street, this is what changed me. And I'm going to tell you, this is what changed me. See, Charlie Street, if you know it well, is the first detox and treatment center in Orange County since the 50s, and it specializes with indigent and homeless men. And those are my brothers. When I walked in there, I saw what you guys were doing. I was like, you weren't being condescending. You were being sincere and genuine, and you were really trying to help. And I asked him, like, what's this? And he goes, oh, those meetings that we go to, those meetings are important. You should do that. But that's not what we do. Meetings are where we go to report on what we do. This is what we do, is carry the message of Alcoholics Anonymous to those who need it, want it, and can't get to it. So go help that guy. And when we got done, because he doesn't know that these are my guys, that I'm an ex-homeless person with mental challenges, that I should be right there with them. But I started to imagine that maybe, just maybe, the worst possible pieces of me have value. Maybe some part of that story that I think is shameful can be leveraged to help someone else. Maybe, just maybe, if I join this thing and get in with you, you guys will show me how to actually be a man. And I woke out not thirsty. And then Carl asked me, are you thirsty? And I said, no. He said, we're going to make a stop. And we went to a men's group on Main Street. There was an old-timers meeting where men actually older than Carl, men on God's doorstep, were sitting in a circle. And I remember Carl walks in and goes, the coffee maker's here. You know. Carl picked me up 6 days in a row and got me 6 coffee commitments. I was the effing caffeine connection for Huntington Beach, California for 2 years, okay? Let me tell you something about commitments, okay? We don't need you to do it. That's the secret. We don't need you to do it. We don't need secretaries and leaders and treasurers and chair stackers and coffee makers and literature people. We don't need that. Bring your folding chair, bring your own damn coffee, get in a circle, and let's just talk about it. Right? We don't need this. I need this. See, I, as an individual member of Alcoholics Anonymous, need this. because guests get catered to and they're just passing through. And families got chores and family stays. And the moment you have chores, which are commitments, you're a member of the family, and it seems to settle us down and make us part of. We need these commitments, man. We need to make up new commitments. Like somebody needs to dust that. I'm not going to, but that's very important. I love it when you go to meetings where like you go, how many of us have commitments? And like everybody's hand goes up. They all have commitments, and they've all created. I'll do it if you do it. You know what I mean? And be a member of the family. You know what I mean? Carl didn't tell me to go home and read. Carl read with me. Carl didn't tell me to go write and bring it back. He wrote with me. He read with me. He wrote with me. He traveled with me. I was doing H night from day one. Schizophrenic wards, Royal Treatment Center, Transitional Recovery Center. These are schizophrenic treatment centers. Chapman House for kids, suicide wards, Metropolitan State Psychiatric. He had me moving, always involved, making coffee, wiping out ashtrays, reading a book, all this kind of stuff. And I lied, man. I lied a lot. I lied to Carl all the time. I made up stuff. In AA seemed backwards. You know, everybody else is practicing telling like the lie of like how good it is. In AA, you got to get good if you tell how bad it is, you know? So I was like adding prison sentences and stuff to my story, you know? Just trying to be part of, you know? And we argued all the time about God. He would tell me to go find God. I was like, hold on, let me look. Didn't find it. What are we doing? I don't believe in God. Good orderly direction. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'm good. And that worked for 5 years, okay? 5 good, glorious years. My life rearranged. My hair got cut. My suit got changed. And not much else. But he left. He moved to Philadelphia. When he did, so did my God. And I didn't come back to another AA meeting for a year. No accountability, no sponsees, no commitments, gone, nobody watching, out. 1 year. And I remember I heard in a meeting one time, don't drink no matter what. Don't drink no matter what. So I didn't. I didn't drink at all, man. I prayed every morning, and I lived life. I had more adventure, more thrill, more money, more excitement, more intrigue in that year than I'd had in my entire previous life. I came back to get a chip for my mom on my 6th year. Because when you drug your mother, she deserves a coin. Okay? And then I didn't come back for another year. Maintained it. You know what I mean? And I made more money in a month than my dad made in a year. Everything was going incredibly different for me. And on my 7th year commemoration speech to get my mom's coin, I heard something that I'd never heard in AA, silence. I'd never heard that before. I never heard, like, looks of horror. Now, I don't know exactly what I said, but I'll paraphrase it, kind of like this, okay? Like, hey, my name is Todd, I'm an alcoholic, apparently, and this a cult. Don't you guys just think you're kind of obsessive? You just transferred addictions, you're just taking beer and transferred into, like, I won't drink if you don't drink, I won't drink if you don't drink, we'll go to a meeting every single day, I'll hang out with you every single day, call you me every single day, you call me every single day, we'll make love together, we'll work with each other, we'll hang with each other, get rid of your friends, 12 steps, you know? You've lost your minds. You're just hiding in here. You're wasting your life. I am making more money in a month than my dad makes in a year, man. I have ridden an Arabian horse on the Sahara Desert at sunset at the base of Cheops. I'm getting written in the Washington Post. I am doing things that you wish you could do. I have a car out there most of you never going to have. I'm doing incredible. I have a much simpler program. It's a 2-step program called Get Sober, Get Some. Yeah. Don't drink no matter what. Why don't you get out of here, follow my 2-step program, and go live life and stop hiding in here. Now, if there's anybody here that wants to know more about my 2-step program, you follow me out the door. I'll show you my way. Drop the mic. There's a lady like down there like, do we clap? What do we... Happy birthday. I walked outside, man, waiting for you all to come rush. He's got the answer. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't hear anything but laughter, and the door shut. So I left, and I didn't come back for 2 more years. Now, man, I've been in meetings where you say 4 years, no AA, no drinking, and a really thrilling life, and people go, oh. One time I heard a newcomer in the back going, I knew it. There were some small changes in my life, okay? Like I gained 80 pounds. So now I look like young Danish Santa, right? I'm wearing stretchy pants. I'm smoking like 2 packs of cigarettes every single day. I'm shooting pool till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, 5, 6 nights a week. I'm cheating on my wife with anything that looks like a girl that will let me catch it, okay? I cry spontaneously. I'm sweating the bed. I'm insomniac. I'm armed again. I want to kill me. My neighbor Brian, I'm taking his life too. I have Tourette's. I spontaneously fight and beat my partner up in the alley. Oh yeah, I've embezzled a little bit of money from my company and I've started a little escort service. And now I'm a pimp. I'm a fat, homicidal, suicidal, Santa smoking hooker pimp. Other than that, it's going great. Isn't it great? You know what I mean? I need a sufficient replacement for what's wrong with me. There's something wrong up here. Please do not tell me not to drink no matter what. I don't even understand that. There's no reason or rhyme or reason why I didn't drink. Alcoholism just chose not to. But alcoholism makes all my decisions. Do you understand? Without a solution, without higher power in my life, without actually actively participating and activating that in my life, I am left to alcoholism's devices, and it is completely in charge of me. It makes my relationship decisions, my financial decisions, it makes my sober decisions, my body decisions, it makes all of my decisions, and it says, you're not going to AA. Now get back in that room and do what I say. It watches me while I sleep, and it looks and it whispers in my ear, you're dead. I'm going to take your life. I know what you've been doing, and you're pathetic, and you're done. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but you're done. And when I wake up and I brush my teeth, it's right behind me. So please don't say to yourselves, gosh, I wish Todd could just come back. I mean, doesn't he know this will help him? I am drowning, and alcoholism is dominating me. It was a miracle. It was a miracle of grace I got here in the first place. When we say we're miracles, it's because something opened up and gave us the power to abolish alcoholism's grip, just to show up to the first meeting. It is a miracle to be here. If you relapse and you come back here again, that is a miracle. If you relapse and come back again, that is a miracle. When we stay here and it continues to relieve us of the obsession, that is a miracle. And I was trapped in a definite prison. I was up all night long with my gun in my lap trying to figure out a reason why not to shoot myself in the head, crying profusely, drinking Coke on ice, smoking a pack of cigarettes, and not drinking. And getting in the car the next morning, the only thing I could think of is I need a boat. I need to take Sun Lovers on the water. That was my big plan. And I rushed to my office. I have 87 employees that work for me. I walk right past them. I go in my office, I slam the door, I shut the blinds. I'm on the computer like a little tweaker just working it, you know. What? And this little skinny kid named Kyle. Hi, my name's Kyle. I just started here yesterday. And I heard you haven't had a drink in like 9 years. Yeah. It's great. And he goes, well, I think I'm an alcoholic. Do you know there's a good meeting? I'm like, crap. And I slam the door in his face. See, I'm a fat, homicidal, suicidal, Santa hooker smoking pimp. But I don't want anybody to know I don't go to AA. Well, ruin my reputation. You know what I mean? So I'm like, El Toro Club, Mission Viejo at 5:30. It's my favorite. Yeah, represent. And he goes like this. He goes, will you give me a ride? Crap. Then it hits me. There's a strip club in the parking lot called the Library. See, what I'll do is I'll give him a ride to his meeting, then I'll go to a meeting of my own, and then I'll pick him up from his meeting. We'll both have a great time, and I got an alibi. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yes, I will give you a ride. So I throw him in the car, and as we're driving there, he goes like this, will you sponsor me? I want what you have. Well, you're going to need some guns and some strippers. My program's complicated. If you had been there, I'd be like, no! Man, I am so glad you guys weren't in there. I'm so glad that was a two-seat car and it was just him and me. Because see, alcoholism is completely in charge of me, but for some reason, when he asked me that question, there was a window, a moment where I felt like this. I need to get me better right now. We need to help him. I can't explain it. He's innocent. I looked right at him and I literally said these words, I will show you my way. A lot of sobriety being shared here tonight. You know? And so we went straight to the meeting. I said, go smoke, Kyle. You know, I said, old guy. First old guy. Like, what's your old guy? Mike? What's your name, Mike? Mike, I'm your new sponsee, okay? And I got a little hooker thing we need to talk about, but right now I need 2 books. And so I got 2 big books. That's my new sponsor. We got I'll call this my home group. And then I walked up on the dude who was making coffee, and I was like, I need to make the coffee. He's like, no, I make the coffee. Get the fuck off. And I took the coffee because I didn't know if it was the coffee or the book or the sponsor, the old guy, or the home. I just need to get me better. We need to help Kyle. You know what I mean? We did Kyle's first step at Gold Hill Tavern over a glass of Red Bull and ice and a game of pool. We're shooting pool in Gold Hill, and he's like, I don't think we should be in a bar. You can't hide from booze, Kyle. It's everywhere. As he's reading the book, I'm reading the book. I'm like, that's cool. Read it again. You know what I mean? By the time we got to his 3rd step, we're both holding hands. I'm crying. He thinks I'm manic. But I'm 10 years sober and 90 days clean, and I'm back. And I moved to Temecula, and I want to say something. This is to the old guys in the room and to the new people, too. Please don't put me or anyone else up on a pedestal once again just because we have years. I was 10 years back, and I'm a pimp. I'm 90 days back. I'm a criminal. I'm a deviant. I've got no morals, no boundaries. I'm just happy to be in the room with you. I got 10 years in a Corvette, and there's people walking up going, oh, I want to be sponsored by you. And I'm just memorizing stuff and toe tapping. Some girl asked me for a ride home. I gave her 2. We were bonded, you know, I mean, whatever. We high-fived and kept it a secret, you know, and I had fun in AA, you know, just being me, and I'm running around. But I joined the wrong home group, the Robbers Roost. And I remember Kip Collins and my sponsor and a couple other guys are no longer with us, took me out into a parking lot. And they explained to me, it was really intense, man. I remember one of them saying, like, you remember that guy over there? I'm not going to use his name, but that guy stabbed that guy last week. What happened? Well, they worked it out. He lied to him. We don't like liars. Oh. And then Kippy did something really special for me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said something really loving. He said, when the fake version of you is doing the steps, the real version of you is dying. He said, go get real, man. Because the real version of you needs to live, and you got to go do this thing. And Bobby told me, you're not ready to get honest. I can't be your sponsor. So go do a 4-step, do a real one. You know, I went home and I had the worst night of my life. I had the longest night of my life. Do it or don't. Do this or not. And I decided to conduct the experiment of Alcoholics Anonymous. I decided, you know what? Fine. I am going to go into this book, and I am going to do exactly what the words say. I'm going to read it and do what the black print says. I will do whatever is suggested, because I'm going to conduct the experiment of Alcoholics Anonymous. I want to see if I do what you guys have been saying, you can change a man like me. Can you help me sleep at night? Can you give me integrity? Can you help me tell the truth? Can you help me have hope and a vision? Feel like I'm part of? Because I don't know if it's a hypnotist show, but I'm willing to try. And I got up at 6:30 in the morning, and I went to type out my 4-step, and I sat there all day long till 2:30, and I got 17 pages, all of my story done. That's how long it takes to do a 4-step. One day, nonstop typing. I don't know anything about, 4-step this year. Thank you for now. I don't know anything about the Step of the Month Club. I was desperate. I had all these pages in my hands, all the secrets, all the trash. And I went over to Bob and I said, you need to hear this. And then Bob sat down, go, and I shared and I shared and I shared. By the way, if you got something to dump, come talk to me. I'll share some of my stuff. You'll feel better. I'm here to help. I shared and I shared and I shared with Bob. You know what he did? He looked at me right in the eyes. He said, you might need outside help. And he wasn't even talking by psychiatrists. He was talking about what the real meaning of a home group is. See, don't call it your home group just because it's your favorite meeting and you go there every time. Home group's a group of men and or women who get together and carry the message of Alcoholics Anonymous. Home group is a library of experience, strength, and hope. Because we're not in the advice business. Don't ask me if you should leave her. I have no idea. If I have experience in that situation, I can give you my experience, the tools I used, and how I navigated it out. But if I've never done it, I have no business saying anything to you. But if you have a home group and you've practiced your 5th step with those men, you have a library of experience, strength, and hope. So Bobby said, go find some men in your home group that have gotten through some of the things you've done. And I did. And I started the sex and sobriety workshops at Back to Basics. I started 4th and 5th step workshops, helping men and women find their relationship ideals, donated blankets and food and money to female sober living facilities, and try to give back for all the harm I'd taken. I went to my partner and I sat down with my partner and I said, I stole. What do you want? He said, everything. And I said, what do you mean by everything? I want everything you own. That's basically, he told everything you own. And I gave it to him. I sold the house I made my wife's. I gave up every single thing I had to my jeans. I called my wife on the phone and I said, I have to sell everything. And my wife said, is it for your sobriety? And I said, yes. Then she said it was worth it. That's Al-Anon. Man, I got to broke, but I'm starting to feel spiritual. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to have connections. I'm actually praying. I'm journaling every day. I understand the word on the 10th step as it says continued. Continued. I believe that I wrote out my 4th step. I wrote out my 8th step, and I made those amends. And continue to do that work suggests that I should keep writing those things down. So I'm journaling my day every day, answering the questions on 86. And I'm starting to get messages and feelings I'd never had before. I'm sleeping at night. In May of 2005, I have a completely different experience. My mother calls me on the phone. She's coming back from Arkansas. She flicked a cigarette out the window, and it caught her moving truck on fire and burned everything she owned to the ground. She's coming back from her divorce. She calls me on the phone crying, saying, oh, I have no possessions. I have nowhere to live, no money, and I've been lying to you and Kara. I actually have stage 4 cancer, and I have less than 6 months to live. I am a different man now. I have a home group, I have a sobriety date, a big book, a God, and a reason. And I can give my mother something more than a coin. See? I ran to my mother and I brought her into my home. I told my mother, I will comb your wig and I will massage your feet. This is your room. This is your car. This is your money. You're done. And no matter how short your days are, no matter how long your days are, I got you, Mom. And when you transition, I will be there to hold you. Okay? And my mom cried and she moved in. And it was a beautiful experience. And then she got better. It's been like 14 years, dude. My mom's like, iPhone 10. Same month my mom is in my house dying of cancer. My wife falls down with MS. I'm stabbing her with interferon every Sunday night. I decided to book a trip to Europe to celebrate her life, and I find out I have stage 4 cancer. It's gone through melanoma. It's in my voice box. It's in my lymph nodes, and I'm dying. My doctor tells me, asks me if I have life insurance and if my finances are in order. And I need to go home and talk to my wife, seriously. I get out, I go to page 68, I look at fear, I read the fear prayer, and then I start calling the men on my list. And I get, my sponsor doesn't answer, my grand sponsor doesn't answer, goes, great, great, great. I get my great, great grand sponsor on the phone, Harry. And I go, Harry, I just found out I got cancer and I'm gonna die. And he goes, me too, when you going? Old people are rude, man. The hell is that? He goes, get out of the box. What time is it? I said, it's noon. What do you normally do at noon? Eat lunch. Eat. Look, you have all the program, the home group, the tools, the God, all the book, everything you need in the sponsorship to handle where your feet are right now. And where your feet are is with information. See, if you go right now, where your feet are right now, you're okay. And in just a moment, right now we'll be here, and you'll still be okay. But you have no power for tomorrow and no power for yesterday. But right here, right now, we're okay. And the fastest way to get right here, right now is to go help somebody. So he told me, I hope you help somebody, because you're being really selfish. And then he hung up on me. He was right, and then he passed away and I didn't. And this gave my higher power a chance to show me a remarkable miracle. See, you can't have remarkable events happen without tragedy. You just can't. You have to go through your fears inventory and face those issues. It's the only way you can teach a young child how to live in the dark is by turning the lights off and holding God's hand through it. And so we got started checking off that list. And you guys ever been so broke you have $26 to your name for a whole week? Man, I was so damn broke. Man, I'm dying. My mom's dying. My wife's degenerating. I got $26, no possessions. And I'm thinking about robbing my kids for their $100 gift cards they got from grandma. so I can buy groceries and pay him back on payday, you know? And Gina's like, why don't we pray? And we're driving, and then I go, dear God, feed my family for an entire week on $26, amen. I know as soon as I said that, there was a guy with a twirly sign that said, feed your family of 4 for $25 this way. And I was like, damn. And for $25, the Western Eagle, which all the Costco's and grocery stores donate their food 2 weeks before they expire, gave us so much food, I was donating food to others. And I had $1 for the basket. I was at John F. Kennedy when I was 18 years sober, and I would sit next, I always start to look around next to the person next to me to see what they're in my world for. And there's this older woman, really sad, and I just kind of leaned over, what's going on with you? And I, wait a minute, are you a friend of Bill's? He goes, yes, 18 years. I go, me, I've got 18 years. And she goes, oh, I'm so sad. I've lived in New York all my life, and I'm moving all the way across the country, and I don't know anybody, and I'm just so afraid. I go, where are you going? She goes, oh, you never heard of it. It's called Temecula. I live in Temecula. She goes, you do? Oh, then you know, please get me connected to H&I. See, H&I has been the cornerstone of my program. I need to get plugged in right away. My name is Todd Johnson. I'm the chair for Temecula Valley H&I, and God sent me here to bring you home. See, I have journals of miracles that happen every single day. Let me say something to you about the God. There's somebody in here who's new. I'm wrestling with step 2. Whatever. Get on this roof and jump. You'll fall. Now define it wrong. Call it Hopi magic. You're still falling. Call it Thor's hammer. Call it something to do with mass and weight. It's dependable. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, the jumping is the steps. And the falling is dependable. It's the remarkable event that comes from sobriety. Did you know that since June 10th of 1935, there have been roughly 6 million of us that have recovered? Do you know the average alcoholic and or addict spends 38 failed ways trying to manage, obliterate, or disrupt, or even stop their using or drinking? That's 228 million failures. We have circumnavigated every human configuration. All that means, if I give you a piece of paper and pen, you're not going to come up with 228,000,001 great ideas. But there's always someone in the room that thinks they're smart going, I got an idea. You're a mental patient. It's not possible. But 6 million have done roughly the same thing. Got a sponsor, used the steps to access something greater than them and helped others, permanent recovery. Something you drop 6 million times, you're starting to see, this has gone past special theory. You can trust it. These are called promises for a reason, you know. I'm starting to have all these beautiful experiences. I started another business, and it starts to flourish, and I'm starting to become Mr. AA. You know, I'm a sensitive alcoholic who understands the steps, the book, and the traditions, and I get a reputation. I get a knock on my door, and I'm like, yes? And it's that girl I gave a ride home to. And she goes, hi. And she looked really good. I said, hey. She's like, oh, I'm not here for that. She goes, I'm here to tell you that you have a daughter. That's not what I said. She pretty? You think she's pretty? Yeah. She goes, nobody knows you're the dad. I lied on the birth certificate. I gave her up for adoption to my mother. She's 6 years old. I'm going to treatment. I've relapsed. I just thought you should know. If you want me to keep it a secret for the rest of my life, I will go to my grave with it. I don't want to ruin your thing. But you should know, she lives 8 miles from your house. She goes to a Christian bounty camp school. She prays to Jesus every day her daddy would come home. Here's a picture. I have a relationship ideal. See, I did my 4-step accurately, and in that sex conduct inventory, I identified my ideal. And in my ideal, which might be different than your ideal, but in my ideal, my wife should know exactly what's going on with me so she can make a decision on whether or not she wants to be married to me. So I went immediately home and told my wife, I have a daughter. My wife said, then we do. Then we got my 3 girls in the room, and I don't make those kind of permanent decisions. I said, should I be in their life or should she be in ours? Group conscience. And all my daughters said, go get her. And I went to rush off to go get, we call her Peanut, because she's got a little belly button that sticks out like this, you know? I went to go get Peanut. Peanut jumped in my arms and said, Daddy, you're exactly what I always imagined you'd look like, you know? And I just held her in her little red dress, and I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh. Because Gina and I can't have any more kids, you know what I mean? Because of her MS and all her complications. But here she is, you know? As I'm putting her in my Jeep, the grandma who's adopted her says, you can't have her. See, there's a little 3-year-old little boy whose dad's in prison, and they're a set. I remember, hey, babe, if I feed this one, can I keep it? But I ain't got no dudes. And I've been Reggie's dad ever since, and it's been 8 years. They're honor roll students. Peanut loves the Pantages. She's in literature. She's evaluating schools in Europe right now. If she maintains her cadence, she'll have her associate's arts degree when she graduates high school. She is very smart. She's a beautiful girl. What could her life been if I had chosen to use my defects? You don't know what God's will is? It's so simple. When you come to a position, you don't know which direction to go, follow the principles. Because the principles will always lead to prosperity. And the defects will always lead to destruction, even when you can't see it. Just follow your principles, you know? Just a couple more and I'll shut up. I was in Canada when I was in that conference. My middle child, my daughter Jillian's a really sensitive child. She tried to cut her wrist and hang herself. They took her to Riverside Mental Health, and they said they might see signs of schizophrenia. Sound familiar? So I flew back, and I learned how to be a dad by being a sponsor with you guys, okay? And I just get real with my kids. And I told Jillian, I said, hey, I'm speaking at a Crystal Meth Anonymous convention in Phoenix this weekend. You want to go with me? I think it'll be a fast meeting. And on the way there, I just shared with her the things that made me want to take my own life. And she looks at me and she says, I like girls. I said, me too, high five. And she goes, do I have to believe in that Christian thing that Mom has? I said, no, you find your way. And whatever your way is. And we went to the bookstore and she got books on philosophy. She found one that works for her. She's going to the Laguna Beach Art Institute this summer. She is an honor roll student. She's doing phenomenal. She do not ask her if you look fat in those pants. She'll tell you. She'll straight up say, don't blame the pants. She is honest and sincere and one of my favorite people on the planet Earth. One day I used to have this panel called Metropolitan State Psychiatric. Anybody here do that panel? Unit 407, criminally, yeah, right, okay. So that's a criminally insane lifer's ward, all right? They're not supposed to get out, okay? Ever. If you've seen some of the folders of no, okay? And every Wednesdays, when I used to go in there and have that panel with Unit 407 for 2 years, I love that panel. And it's barbed wire, electric fences, built in the 1800s. You guys know where it's at, yeah? So anyways, I get a phone call from some guy in Hemet named Chuck, and Chuck's like, hey, I want to do that Metro thing with you. And I'm like, Chuck, how much time you got? 10 years. I go, well, Chuck, let me tell you where it's at. Nope. And he hangs up. Where? And he shows up, and I'm like, Chuck, this is not like a normal panel. It's not like a prison or a jail panel. Do not look at them, stare at them. Do not touch them. He's like, no, you don't need to tell me, dude. Don't lecture me. I'm like, oh, good. Chuck's going to get us killed. We get buzzed through the gate, man. We're going back past the wildcats. There's all these wildcats, right? And I go back into the room, and normally the mod's about, I don't know, about as big as that square 2 times, and there's usually about 5 or 6 guys that come in. And tonight, every dude who's not in a chemical coma is in the room. It's a whole bunch of crazy in a box, and I'm getting nervous. And they're not looking at me, they're looking at Chuck. And they go, hi, Chuck. And I go, how do they know you, Chuck? And he goes, oh, I used to live here. Well, what are you doing back, Chuck? What do you think the one question they had for Chuck was? How'd you get out? And Chuck was like so cool. He was like, hey man, what they did is they came with a softbound blue book and they said if I read where it says read, and I write where it says write, and I pray where it says pray, and I help where it says help, I'll be sane and I'll be free. And I was so crazy, I didn't realize it was a metaphor. So I got the book and I'm reading and I'm writing and I'm praying and I shared my fist up with some guy. And then all of a sudden the doctor comes in and goes, wow, Chuck, apparently you're sane and we got to let you go. But the book says you have to do this day by day with a new man, and I didn't know any, but the phone number was in the book. So I called it, and the guy's like, who's this? Chuck from the Metropolitan State Psychiatric Prison. He goes, where you at, Chuck? I'm out, and I'm looking for you. And that guy came and picked me up, and for 10 years, I've been picking men up off the street, combing their hair, feeding them soup, showing them this book, and getting them sober. On my 10th birthday, my sponsor said, now you need to go back in there and show those men how to get out, or you'll live there again. Because you get what you give. I want to say, if I leave you with anything at all, I just want to keep it really simple and say, I challenge you to conduct the experiment of Alcoholics Anonymous. Do what the Black Prince says. Get with a real sponsor that understands the traditions, the concepts, and the steps, and this book. And when you get that tool, that sponsorship, that home group, that book, then just do these simple things. Read a little, write a little, pray a little, help a little, and go to bed. And you'll be changed a little. And the next day, you'll be given the opportunity to try again. And one day you'll look back on your life and you will have seen that remarkable things have followed. Thank you, guys.